On the baseball topic, right? Jay Johnson just had an interview. Now we have the SEC Freshman of the Week. I almost said year, but Freshman of the Week. Jared Jones. Jared Bear Jones. We did. We called it earlier in the year. Jared, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And I'll probably we had to. If you don't see the Heineken, we had to lift the mic up on the Heineken because he's too big.
Biggest guy we've had in studio.
He's the biggest guy we've had in studio, and that's saying a lot because he has some big guys. Speaking of, you're a catcher.
I am.
You are a catcher.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
You still claim it?
A little bit. I mean,
So-
I'm gonna hang on to it as long.
Well, that's my next question is like, what has the conversation? Because obviously Brady Neal's catching, he's doing a really good job behind the plate. He's a freshman. Y'all are both freshmen.
Right.
What has that conversation? Have you had that conversation as like, hey, how do I get any innings behind the plate, or are you just saying, you know what, I'm just gonna try to like hone my skills on the backside, and then just wherever I can keep hitting homers, I'm just gonna play.
I mean, we had that conversation at the beginning of the spring. He said, this year it's going to be Alex and Brady doing the work behind the plate, and I completely understood that. They've done a great job to this point. When I go to summer ball, he's going to get me on a team that I'm going to catch a lot in the summer.
Oh, nice.
And then, come back next year, and hopefully the plan is for it to be me and Brady next year behind the plate.
That'd be good.
Is there anything that so not catching predominantly right now? Obviously, catching takes a lot out of your legs, right? Has there been anything that you've been able to learn about your swing or about yourself by not having to do the other side of it as much right now?
A little bit. Like, I started off the year DHing, and kind of when we started that, like in the preseason, inter squads, it was kind of a struggle because I'd just be sitting in the dugout for 3 innings.
DHing sucks sometimes.
Go hit. And
if you're not used to it, it's tough.
Yeah. So, like, I'd have to start, looking up at the scoreboard, seeing, okay, I'm up 4th this inning or I'm up 5th, Now I need to start getting loose again and getting my swing right and getting mentally locked into my next AB.
So I experienced some of this when I DH'd. I didn't DH a ton, but like when I was DHing in pro ball, if you're at home, you usually had a cage that you could go to, right? Obviously, the cages at LSU are too far down; they're not covered in front of everybody.
Or at least they're not connected.
They're not connected right now, right? So it's kind of hard to get down there. But if you had it, would that be something that you would look into doing? Like maybe go and take a few swings. Before?
I would. I mean, right now I go down like the tunnel between the dugout and the locker room.
Yeah.
Our strength coach Derek Groomer has med ball set up, band work set up, so I just go down there, do a couple stretches, throw a few med balls, do a little band work, and then I get on deck and just kind of swing the bat.
What has your adjustment been like, right? Because Jay talks about a lot. We've talked about a lot. The biggest adjustment you're going to get in baseball is coming from high school to college, right? Now that you're playing in the SEC, you're about to have SEC schedule started up right now, but when you get through the SEC, the competition in pro ball is kind of very similar, right? But from high school to college, that's a big jump, in competition, right? Yeah. So, like, how has that adjustment been for you, making that jump? Because you've obviously hit the ground running. You started off super hot. You went for that it was a tiny stretch of, like, just kind of unsure, maybe a little tweak. We talked about off air. And then you got hot again. So, how has that adjustment been?
It's been difficult, but I think the fall, playing against Paul Skeens every Friday night, and then Thatcher Hurds on Sunday, it gets you adjusted pretty quick. Even the coaching staff has done a good job with it as far as the mental side of things. So the fall really helped out a lot. Like when you talk about a team that has 2 Friday guys throwing on Friday in a fall inter squad with, it was every Friday it was Paul versus Grant Taylor. If you took those guys and put them anywhere else in the country, they're still Friday night guys for anybody else. Yeah. And we had them both on our team. So obviously, Grant Taylor out for the year, which sucks. He's one of our best guys, but he'll be back next year. And then, so Saturday we'd show up and say, okay, well maybe it's a break today, and then you would have to face Ty Floyd or Thatcher Hurd. So you get adjusted pretty quick, and then just jumping into the season, Coach Johnson, pulled me into his office as he did with everybody and talked, this is your role for the year. Not really role, but like this is where you're going to start the year. And he just instilled confidence in me that he was going to give me some opportunities early on, and so I just went out there and kind of did my thing.
You had a great fall and great spring, right? I mean, he said that at all the freshmen, at all the guys on the team, that you came out and I think you had the best numbers of anybody, right? And that's got to give you a lot of confidence, especially facing the guys that you mentioned going up against. Like, you're not just doing that against walk-ons or back into the bullpen guys that aren't really pitching. You're doing that against guys who are throwing 100 miles an hour and who are going to be first-round draft picks. Like, that's got to give you some confidence leading into the season, right?
For sure, and I think he does a great job of, like, he pushed me enough to where I was able to get comfortable playing. But then, when I went through that weekend last week and I'm kind of struggling, he was able to pull me aside and kind of slow me down a little bit, get my feet up under me, and get me ready to go for this week.
And you said, we talked about it off air, you talked about the little small, he talked about 20 minutes ago, he mentioned, you made a small adjustment technique-wise, whatever, in his swing. It was more about mentally getting prepared and getting the mental game right. What were some of those adjustments that you did? Because he didn't go into depth, and I know that you kind of did a little bit off air.
Right. So like I said, I just going back and watching those swings from 2 weekends ago, shoulders were moving a lot. I was kind of flying open a good bit and wasn't able to see the ball as well. I mean, I was chasing curveballs in the dirt, swinging at fastballs up out of the zone, and that's kind of how guys are going to get you out at this league. So went into the cages and just kind of worked on keeping my shoulders square to home plate for as long as possible, simplify everything down. I'm a big guy and, I'm pretty strong, so I just wanted to let that play. You know what I'm saying?
It's a fair statement.
And Mark McGuire. That's what everybody calls you, right? Mark McGuire. You kind of have that wide stance and like the bat waggle, and you're hitting balls over scoreboards. It's Big Mac land, so I guess it's got to be It's got to be the Bear Cave now.
Oh,
I just came up with that.
I like that.
The Bear Cave.
Yeah, I remember watching the the E60 live long summer, him and Sosa. So.
Yeah. I was you weren't. I don't even think you were born yet.
That made me feel so old. I watched it
you
live.
definitely weren't born yet. I was 9 when that happened. But go ahead,
dude. When you talk about those, you literally named the guys that you named on the mound. How has it been for y'all offensively to be able to, one, know you're in pretty much every game because of the talent that you have on the mound and their ability to keep you in games?
It takes the pressure off of us. I don't think there's any pressure really going into a game regardless, because I think the pitchers trust us and we trust the pitchers, and that's kind of been a big topic of discussion as a team is like, if we trust everybody to go out there and do their job, we're going to win probably every game that we go out there. We just have that much talent. So if we trust each other to go out there and do our job, then who's going to stop us? It's kind of been our mentality.
Right.
And, we've had some bumps in the road. We've started games slow. We've already lost a game this year. Nobody expected us to be perfect, but we bounced back right after that loss, came back with a statement win against Sam Houston, who's a really good team. And then from then on, it's just been, run rule and home runs and shutouts. And
I think
no-hitter.
I think what's special is you look at
Reds.
You go look. They're too young to get in Fred right now.
You're right.
You look at Alabama's got a freshman who's got 10 homers. You look at Jack, I think Caglione at Florida's got 11 or 12. And you see these numbers, right? But then you look at LSU. You look at y'all. Y'all are beating the shit out of everybody. Y'all are hitting a ton of homers, but it seems like it's very spread out, right? You're leading the team with 6, but the lineup probably has more power than any other team in the country, and it's just so spread out. I think that's a credit to the guys on the lineup, right? It's what Jay said earlier. What I am harping on a lot is everybody's bought into each other, right? Everybody knows how good y'all are, each other are, but everybody's bought into each other. And I think that's the separator between you guys and a lot of other teams.
I think it has to do with we have a good combination of old talent and young talent, and Cade Beloso, Gavin Dugas have been here for 5 years. They've been through ups and downs their whole career, and when I first got to campus, I'm a young freshman. I want to make a name for myself, but they kind of, take it slow, enjoy the process. We've been here before. We know how this thing operates, and those two guys have been amazing. And I was looking up the scoreboard in right field has our lineup and everything, and I'm looking up at it, and I'm like, he's batting 400, he's batting 350, he's batting 400. Then some guy goes and pinch hits, and you look up, and it's 750 or 600.
So true. He's not. That's so true.
No doubt.
It's just, some guys are being very selfless right now, and giving other guys opportunities. And when they get their number called, they're going to go out there and give it their best as well.
Now, I was going to say the gauntlet starts now, right? This is obviously. This week, you have a midweek game, and then you take the show on the road.
The Fighting Blake Deans, dude.
There you got the Fighting Blake Deans coming in town.
He doesn't know who Blake Dean is.
He'll know.
That was our teammate at LSU. Now he's the head coach.
He'll know. He probably already know. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So they come in town this week, but then you also go to Texas A&M this week, and it really starts the gauntlet of the schedule right here. How excited are you for really being able to go into really hostile environments? Because it's one thing to do it one night at Texas, and then you're out of there. Right, but it's another thing to do it 3 days in a row where you keep showing up and you keep hearing the same nonsense, you keep seeing the same people. and you got to do it on the road against really good teams. How excited are you for that?
I'm very excited. I mean, as a freshman, I've never done anything like this before, so I really don't have any expectations going into it other than it's probably not going to be the most fun weekend of baseball I've ever had. I'm sure I'm going to hear some things I've never heard before.
That could make it more fun, though.
Could make it more fun.
Make it more fun.
It could.
Embrace the hate.
Yeah. But like I said, I mean, I don't know what to expect going into it. I think talent-wise, we match up very well, if not better than them, and we're going to go out there and give it 3 games of our best baseball.
Yeah.
How awesome has it been? So, I came in with my freshman class wasn't as touted as y'all's. His freshman class was pretty good coming in. Y'all are the number 1 freshman class in the country, right? You come in there, and now immediately they're having freshman impacts. You're having a huge impact. Paxton Kling's having a huge impact. Chase Shores has had a big impact early on. Brady Neal's had a huge impact. Gavin Guidry seems like he's about to start having a lot more impact on the mound. How awesome is that to come in together as a class, right? Especially for guys from all over the country, and you come in, you have like this one common goal. How cool is it to be able to succeed together?
It's very cool. I room with 3 of those guys with Paxton, Brady, and Gavin.
There it goes.
So
It's a pretty good room.
There it goes.
Of our room, I think 3 of us came in the summer, and we just kind of we would sit up in the kitchen and just talk about
Right.
what if this happened, what if that happened, kind of just, I guess, dreaming about it, right?
Yeah.
And now to see it happen, it's just really cool. And Paxton Kling came in the fall, and he started raking right away. And I've known him since we roomed together at the PG All-American game, and so I've known him since I was probably 14, 15 years old. Played with Gavin Guidry at the PG National. So it's relationships that started to be built 2-3 years ago that now we're bringing into college. And when you understand that, we had a group chat named LSU National Champs 3 years ago.
I love that. That's awesome.
So,
See, I was wondering because I perused
that.
your Twitter and all your likes whenever we were.
Why can't you talk like a normal
I
person?
think he just literally looks for a word he can say every day.
You have a very
Who uses that?
expansive
expansive
vocabulary.
vocabulary.
No, he doesn't because he's never used it before.
That's how you know it's expansive.
It's like
You
it's the
don't even
word
know
of the
what
day
it
or
is.
something over there.
But I was looking at your Twitter.
There you go.
There you go. But it goes all the way back to almost 2019 to where you were liking LSU posts. It seemed like whether people knew it or not that you kind of were locked into LSU, regardless if it was Jay Johnson or not.
I was. I obviously got recruited by Paul Maneri and Nolan Kane. They were great, and I
Paxton
loved
put
them.
himself in the doghouse real quick.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you too. Paxton decommitted. He wanted to get re-recruited. Did that ever cross your mind, or did you say, LSU is where I want to be, regardless of the coach? I trust that they're going to hire the right guy.
I didn't know anything about Coach Johnson when he got the job. I was born in Georgia. I've always watched East Coast baseball, whether it be the Braves, the Yankees, LSU, Georgia, whoever it may be. It was always on the East Coast, and he was a West Coast guy. So I didn't know anything about him, but, called my agent, called some coaches that had been around, and they said, first-class guy, great coach. He's had, Chris Bryant. Now he's had Jacob Berry, countless number of big leaguers. So they knew that he was a great coach, and that kind of put confidence in me to stay with LSU.
You're the number 1 ranked catcher in the country, right? Our number 1 ranked catcher in Georgia. I think number 4 in the country. The draft coming out of high school probably was a big thing, right? That was something that you're probably getting talked to a lot about, and that was a real opportunity for you. What was the deciding factor? What made you want to say, I need to go to college, as opposed to saying, I'm going to take that money and run with it?
Right. I really want to win. I'm very competitive. I've got 4 older siblings that all played collegiate athletics somewhere. So
Your dad did too.
He did. He played football at Georgia Southern way back in the day. So
Damn, don't do him that. He ain't that old. I'm mad at him. Don't do him that. Damn. My bad.
Get a phone call.
So, I watched my brother. He was a 6th-year senior last year because of COVID and injuries and everything. And I watched him grind it out in college. And I was like, and he said it was the most fun he's ever had playing baseball. And, if he could go back for a 7th year, I'm sure he would have. So, the draft, it is what it is. And, would I've loved to have been drafted in the first round out of high school? Sure, who wouldn't? But who also wouldn't want to come here and win a national championship?
I love that, because here's the deal. You go here and you do that, where you're going to get drafted after your junior year? The first round.
Yeah, you'll be fine there.
Yeah.
I love that you bring that up, man, because, I mentioned to you off air before I met your dad, and your dad was absolutely beaming at the experience that you've had here so far. How is it, so from your perspective, how has it been for you here so far? One, obviously getting to play with guys you've known for forever, getting to play with some guys who are going to be drafted very high, who are very good right now, and just the overall experience of being here. How's it been for you so far?
It's kind of crazy. I mean, it's really surreal. Like, I don't even realize what's going on until like 2 days later. Like, Sunday after the game.
So you didn't realize you hit that ball over the scoreboard?
Like, seriously, though. Sunday after the game, I go back. My parents stay at a campground like a mile from the field, and I go over to their trailer to say goodbye before they, head back. And I'm like, I hit 4 home runs this weekend. Like, that was
That's
really
pretty cool.
And 4 in a row, as a matter of fact. And I was like, I was talking to my dad. I was like, even in Little League, I don't know that that's ever happened before for me.
Right.
So
awesome.
It's just like, I'm playing in front of 11,000 people every weekend, every day that we have a game, and every day I go out there, it's some other kid wanting an autograph or wanting to talk to me or a fan wanting to give me like a piece of bubble gum or whatever it is. Like
the Skittles, is the Skittle guy still out there?
I don't know if the Skittle guy's still. I haven't run into him, but
house arrest.
It's like the people here. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because there's no MLB team here,
Right.
And that was another selling factor about LSU is like when people want to watch baseball, they're going to come watch LSU.
Absolutely.
So,
and it's that. I think that's what separates the fans here than from anywhere else, right? Because of that, you don't have a lot going on outside of LSU other than LSU, right? Especially in the baseball world. And I mean, you said it, right? You wanted to win a national championship. You wanted to come here, and you've played in front of 11,000. You haven't even gotten to SEC. Wait.
I was about to say, it only gets better because
days are longer now. The weather's getting better. You're going to have 2 straight big home. I mean, the Tennessee weekend is going to be outrageous over here, right? Like, you haven't even seen what the Alex Box Stadium could be, right? You're about to see it, right? And so the fact that you're experiencing that right now, I'm excited for you to be able to experience it, especially once y'all start hosting regionals and super regionals. I know I'm jumping the gun, but I mean, that's where it gets like...
I'm glad he's saying this because this is what we talked about a lot before the season even started. We wanted to see you guys get a chance to experience it like this because that is what people come here for, is the experience of it literally being a Tuesday against Southern and there's 11,000 people there. And that's the experience that's one to none that you don't really get anywhere else. And for you guys to be experiencing that so early is really a testament to how well y'all have played so far, honestly, truthfully.
I mean, that's why I came here. When Nolan Kane recruited me, and he said 2 things to me. We lead the country in attendance every year, and a recruiting class had not missed Omaha since like 1990 or something. Yeah. So I was like, okay,
I'm in. And then so last year they didn't make it. That was the first year that a recruiting class had made it. Now it seems like Jay took that to heart. He's like, okay, we're not ever letting this happen. It seems like he has set y'all up, obviously with the freshmen that. I mean, y'all's mindset is, hey, if I'm here for 3 years, I want to go win 3 national championships. I'd imagine that's y'all's mindset, and I think that y'all have the ability to do that. Now, baseball's tough, and it's hard to do it, but that's how you get LSU back to where they need it to be as far as, hey, every year they're in Omaha. Because you'll see, if y'all go to Omaha this year, which I'm expecting y'all to, if y'all go to Omaha, you'll see how many LSU fans are actually live in Omaha.
It's LSU Midwest.
It's stupid. It really is ridiculous. You're going to get a lot of guys from Louisiana, a lot of people LSU, but people up in Omaha love y'all, and that you're going to see that, and that's what makes it special.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
But man, I'm excited that you're here. I know.
Way to temper yourself right there. I appreciate that. One game at a time, right?
Well, look, sometimes he doesn't know what's going on. He said, I didn't realize he had 4. And I think that's what you said was awesome because you're in the moment, right? Like, the more you start thinking about, I'm going to do something, like, I'm going to hit 5 home runs in a weekend, or I'm going to hit, 4 home runs in a row, like, usually doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But if you stay within yourself and in the moment, that's when
it's the best way to go about it, man. Like, if you keep
happens.
approaching it like that, you're going to end up looking back at after weekends, after a month, after the season being like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened.
Right.
Like, I just did that. We just did this. Like, you're going to sit there and be like, that's what I want to be a part of. You know, and that's pretty awesome to see that you've kind of already put that into play a little bit.
Well, I mean, we talked about like the physical adjustment I made, but mentally, like at Texas or even 2 weekends ago, like, I mean, I'd sit there and, 1 strikeout, 2, 3, 4.
I've been there.
You're sitting there counting them up, and like you're taking 2 at bats, and they're just stacking up on you. And at the end of the day, you're looking up and you go, "Shit, that wasn't a good day."
Wait, but, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
So Coach Johnson pulls me in his office. He's like, "Every time you go up there, you're 0 for 0."
Yeah.
And so
It's hard
to do, but I did that this weekend, and like I said, I go home on Sunday. I'm like, I had a much better weekend this week. So
no shit.
So quick funny story, quick story about that, right? So my sophomore year, I was like in this beginning stretch that you had. Like I felt like I couldn't get out. Mm-hmm. It was like probably we had 3 or 4 weekends left in the SEC, 3 weekends left, and I was hitting 375. And I'm like, I'm gonna hit 400. Like I'm doing all this stuff. We played Vanderbilt at home, and I went 0 for 14 with 7 punchies. And I'm sitting in the dugout doing the same thing. I'm like, okay, I didn't get a hit on Friday. I didn't get a hit on Saturday. I didn't get hit on Sunday. And I also struck out 7 times. I think it was like 5 times in a row. I'm like, I suck at baseball.
That's closer to what you got. See, it's funny to me. I'm sitting here and I'm watching 2 ends of the spectrum right here. I was a guy that it didn't really matter like how well I was playing, good, bad, ugly, whatever. I love seeing reactions of people like after it's not good. So Mikey's a guy that comes in
very emotional guy.
Watch out for the bat rack. Something
might
go bad there.
As I got older, I didn't hit the bat rack
but I didn't play with you when you were older, so it doesn't matter. I can't talk about that. I played with you when we were young, so it doesn't matter. So I imagine you're the guy we'd look back down and he's just like sitting there like, what the hell just happened?
Seriously,
the number keeps going down.
Like he's literally just like, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah, no, for real. Like I go up there and I'm like, I feel like I'd walk up there just as fast as I'm coming back to the ground. And I'm like
we've all had that feeling.
Last week I was doing great. Now I can't get out there long enough they can't introduce my name.
My song's still playing. I'm walking back.
I just circled the catcher and came right back.
They're playing my walkout song for me walking back to the dugout. I was kind of messed up. Like, what is this about?
Are we sure that was
man.
2 strikes?
That's unbelievable.
Okay, so you talked about the mental side of it, right? That Jay's talked about. Like, what goes into that? Because he talks a lot about that, and I think that when we know about it, because the higher you go up and the harder the game gets, the more it's about the mental side than the physical side, right? So I think it's important to understand that early on. And he preaches it a lot. Mm-hmm. What does he do, and how does he help you get past, some of those mental blocks and help you stay, ahead of the game that way?
Well, I mean, last week after the weekend against Butler in Central Connecticut, our mental strength coach was actually in town, and she sat me down after the Sunday game. Was like, what's going on? How are you feeling mentally? We didn't talk about mechanics or anything on the approach side of things, just like, how's your mental side? And I was like, I'm struggling right now. It's not been a good stretch for me. She's like, well, how can we get you out of this? So as far as that, she handles the mental strength side of things. And then
does she give you any you don't have to go into depth of what y'all talked about, but is there something do you have a routine,
Yes, for sure. I'll get on deck, do the same thing every time I'm on deck. Look at my barrel,
deep breath,
kind of just visualize, get up to the plate, walk up the same way every time. I dig in the box the same way every time. And then I just scan the outfield, get my eyes settled into the field and the lighting of the pitch that I'm about to receive. And then from there, it's just, clear mind and go.
Has the pitch clock affected?
I could hit it over that scoreboard.
Yeah, that scoreboard's not that far away from me.
No, he was in the field, so when it went over, he's like, "Oh wow!"
Yeah, I didn't see that.
I never saw that thing.
But has the pitch clock affected that? Because you have to kind of speed some stuff up. I mean, I guess that you're born into the pitch clock now, so it's not you have to make that adjustment.
More in between pitches than getting to the plate. Yeah. In between pitches, if I foul a pitch off that I know that oh man, that was my pitch. It's more of can I get 30 seconds real quick?
Yeah, right.
Can I get time? But it is what it is. It's something that we knew was going to happen early on in the spring. Kind of talked about it late in the fall that this could be a real possibility, and then it became a possibility. So we practiced that a lot, and he is very big on we're not going to be unprepared for something. So
I love that.
Everything we did was in the spring games. We had a pitch clock.
Yeah.
Have you been able to? So obviously, being around the pitchers a good amount. Have you been able to, or have you tapped into being able to pick Wes's mind a little bit? That's something that may have helped you a little bit on the hitting side of things.
I think I haven't talked to Coach Wes specifically, but he gives reports to Coach Johnson, and when I came back,
about y'all,
about myself.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's actually awesome. I love that.
Awesome.
And so.
You don't hear that much. I love that.
Right before the spring started, before our first game, Coach Johnson sat me down. He was like, these are your splits. This is how you looked. Hey, by the way, you faced lefties 6 times in the spring. You got to a 3-1 count 6 times, and you swung 6 times in a 3-1 count, and they were all balls. He purposely threw a ball because he knew you were swinging every time. So I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize that. So then we're playing.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
We're playing. I think it was Southern or the Western Michigan. It was somebody, and it was a 3-1 count. And I said to him, I'm going to take right
I'm
here.
auto take, yeah.
And it was ball 4. And I was like, hey, for the
You
first time, I didn't.
You look at him.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to slow yourself down.
Yeah.
So I used to do that with 2-0. I used to get to 2-0, and then all of a sudden they were spinning me stuff, and I would chase. Now, like I knew I didn't want to swing at it, but I'm just going to swing. I was like, you know what?
I used to have to do it at 1-0.
Yeah, I'm just going to auto take.
Yeah.
I got more 3-0 counts than I had gotten to in the first half of the season, just because sometimes you just got to force yourself to slow down, right? And I think that's huge because you don't see that a lot, especially in college, of getting the pitching coach to give reports on their own hitters and say, hey, this is what they're doing to you. It's up to you to make that adjustment.
You don't have the opportunity in pro ball because obviously you don't play a full fall's worth against your own pitchers, but still, the simple fact that he's actually doing that is actually pretty cool. You don't hear that much.
Yeah. I mean, I think him coming from, was it the Twins?
Yeah.
Like, and then he was at Arkansas before that. He knows more about the game than I've ever would want to know. I mean,
No, he's special. We've had him on the show, and he's awesome.
Yeah,
he's glad that he's here, right? Like,
yes.
he left the big league pitching coach out that was in first place to come to LSU. Like, that's a lot.
Being a coveted pitching coach at that spot too.
Right. How has it been playing with? I mean, you're playing with some guys who are probably going to be superstars in the big leagues, right? Hopefully, I mean, hopefully you're a superstar in the big leagues as well. Obviously, you have a couple more years. You're not a draft eligible sophomore.
I am a draft eligible sophomore.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in the chat.
There it is.
Draft eligible sophomore. So
Don't even think about that. Enjoy your time.
Yeah, he's not. I can promise he's not thinking about that. But you're playing with like Dylan Cruz and these guys who've kind of been here for a few years, and Dylan's probably gonna be 1 overall. I would imagine. Honestly, it's probably between him and Paul Skeens as of now, right? Like 1 overall, 1 and 2. Like, how has it been playing with these guys who have been in the moment that you're trying to get to at some point? And like, you know, obviously Dylan's as good as you can get as a person and as a player. How's it been with playing these guys?
It's been amazing. I think what a lot of people don't understand is like they're just like everybody else.
Right.
And I think that's what's really cool about it is like we'll be in the locker room and just cutting up with them. And then we go out onto the field and they flip a switch on and it's time to play baseball and you flip the same switch on and you're playing next to him and he expects you to go make a diving play and I expect him to go make the same diving play.
Right.
But then we get off the field and it's right back to, hey, like, what are we going to have for dinner tonight or whatever it is.
Right.
So they kind of do a great job of Paul Skeens the same way. Like, he pitches Friday night. You know, we're not going to talk to him before he pitches. He goes out there, throws 6 shutout, 12 strikeouts, and then he's, laughing it up, cutting it up in the dugout right afterwards. So they do a great job of separating the baseball side of things from, like, hey, we're still a team. We're still brothers. I got your back no matter what.
Yeah. You played first, right, for a good stretch. Had you played first, I'd imagine you've played first at some point in your life since you're a Giant, and so, you know, can't catch every game. At some point, so you've played, you're familiar with first, you're comfortable with first. That wasn't something new to you?
It was. I mean, or it wasn't something new to me. I played, summer ball games. We'd have 3 games a day, so I wasn't going to catch all 3. I'd catch, the morning game and maybe the night game, but
it's a lot for those knees.
It's a lot. I
You're
played
also
first.
talking to a fellow first baseman.
No. They threw me at first a couple years last year, and it was new to me. And it looked new to me.
He got tips from the opposing first baseman.
I ran over the
Mid-game.
it was tough. We
don't want to talk about that.
We don't talk about it.
I told Trey he's got to stop playing so good. Cause, it makes me look bad because I'm like, they're going to expect me to make that same play you're making.
You scooped a couple this weekend, though.
You did, and you made that play on the wall, I think, last week. And, you're moving well, but you're not unfamiliar with the position.
Right, no. Not at all.
That's important, though. The more positions, especially as a catcher, as a big guy, like, being able to play first and be athletic and be nimble like you have been, like, I think that bodes well for, way down the line. Yeah. Right. Have you played third before?
In the fall, Coach Johnson messed around with it a little bit.
Have you ever played it before?
Hey, not really, no. Like, maybe in Little League or, like, just messing around, playing with friends and stuff. But we had some injuries in the fall or just guys were getting some time off. And he was like, hey, you're going to play third in the center squad today. And I was like, okay.
Did you have a glove?
I did,
You had an infield glove?
Yeah.
But you keep swinging it like that, they're gonna finding
you keep hitting balls to the scoreboard, like you're gonna be in lineup no matter where you're at. I'd imagine you played other sports too.
I did. I played football.
No way.
No
Not
chance.
you. You know, no chance you play
What
football.
position? Tight end?
I was a right tackle.
Oh, right tackle.
Yeah, my dad did not want me touching the ball.
Why not? Those knees are valuable, Coach.
Oh, he didn't want someone coming cutting you down?
He said, too much Jones in me. We don't touch the ball. We block.
Well, we gotta get your dad on here one day. This guy's a
love
character.
that.
I love him.
I love it. So he was an offensive lineman?
He was. He played right tackle at Georgia Southern from 1985 to 89. They won 3 national championships. So
Oh, wow.
Wow.
They run the option.
I would have loved to have
ran
you
the
as
triple option.
Wow.
I would have loved to have you
you
as
ain't
my
touching
right
the
tackle.
rock.
Yeah.
You're pulling, son.
That's great.
Well, but you, I mean, like first baseman, like catcher, like you got great hands. I'd imagine that you probably had really good hands. You probably could catch
Probably
anything.
had good
I mean,
hands at right tackle,
I
too.
always wanted to play
His
running
kicks
back
like
or
punches.
quarterback or tight end or something like that. I was just, he wanted me to be on the line, and he was
Do
my
it.
coach up until high school. So,
Oh no!
There you go.
Yeah,
What other
choice.
position? What other sports? What sports did your siblings play?
so I have 3 sisters. They all played volleyball. One played at Georgia Southern, and then 2 other played at Armstrong Atlantic State, which now is part of Georgia Southern.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then my brother played baseball at Young Harris College. It's a D2 in North Georgia.
Okay.
Is anybody
you-
in the family under 6 foot?
My brother and one of my sisters.
Okay.
Only one of
Only
them.
one of them, but she's probably what 5'11",
She's 5'10". Yeah.
5'10", still super tall for a girl. Yeah.
Not
So
played libero.
No, they were all outside hitters.
yeah, no doubt. So you're a competitive family.
Yeah, very
Obviously,
competitive.
I'm sure that y'all had some holidays and growing up, you had some heated.
Sure, some furniture's gotten broken inside.
Yeah, I think growing up, I used to be a Georgia fan until I was like 10 years old. But my brother, for some reason, was a Florida fan. And I remember this not as well as he does, but there was a time where when Georgia and Florida were playing each other, and we were sitting on the couch, and I guess Tim Tebow scored a touchdown. I punched him in the face because of it. and he didn't do anything wrong. He was just a Florida fan,
I love that.
So,
I love that. I love
that's
that.
great.
That's good. Now your LSU fans say, "Look, I'll still punch you in the face now if Florida scores a touchdown."
And
Is he
then
converted?
Need
The
more
LSU fan
dogs.
now?
he is an LSU fan.
All right,
now.
good.
There we go.
Or we'd be playing wiffle ball in the backyard, and we'd only get like an inning and a half in because
That sounds familiar now.
yeah,
It was no longer wiffle ball.
no, we
Yeah.
get pissed off and run inside or chase each other around the yard with the little yellow bat.
Can't just let them go outside and play. Next thing you know, they're literally rolling in the ground fighting each other.
I'll figure it out.
That's awesome.
Dad couldn't be more proud.
I love
Well, man, listen, I've enjoyed watching you play right this year. Like I enjoyed watching the growth. I will continue to enjoy watching the growth of you. I'm bummed I only get to watch you for 2 years, maybe, because you're a draft eligible sophomore. But the adjustments that you made early on in the season and kind of the approach that you have is very impressive, man. And the way that you speak and approach the game and you're mature beyond your years, which I think is rare and it's pretty good to see. And I think that's the common theme, honestly, with a lot of the guys on the team right now. And
Right.
so LSU's in great hands moving forward. So I appreciate you coming on the show, dude.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I don't want to keep you too long. I'm not sure you guys probably some study hall or
Yeah, right.
something.
He said I didn't say it.
Absolutely. Something going on. But do y'all still have assigned study hall hours?
No.
Wow.
NIL
Yeah,
coach.
you guys are living a life.
We used to have to get 8 a week.
We have study hall on the road, but it's not mandatory for school. It's like our coach is just like, hey, we're
It's
on the
film.
road. We're supposed to be doing
Yeah, well,
schoolwork. Let's do some schoolwork.
for baseball, we had mandatory 8 hours of study hall through the course of the week. Now, as you got older, it went down, right?
No.
If we could trust you more.
As you got older and the grades stayed good,
Yeah, it went down, right? So, like, eventually I didn't have any, but
Yeah.
when I was a freshman, everybody had 8.
Oh, you were in that thing,
I
coach.
was in there. But I kind of liked it because you saw everybody
There you
in
go.
there.
See.
So
Supposed to be
everybody
in
in
there
there.
doing work. What do you mean?
Well, you see everybody.
He's trying to get a
and you go-
tutor.
you go do it, You just got to let everybody know who you are. You're a freshman. You got to get to know everybody.
Wear all your gear.
So you were just
No. Maybe I did that. That was
No,
a
so you're just waving around. Hello, how you doing?
Hey, I'm Mikey. Good to
Number
see you.
8.
If y'all need any help, I'm
You're from
studying,
Masscom. How
I'm
you
studying
doing?
econ up there in
My cousin works here.
Cubby 3, if you want to go there. No, dude. I appreciate you, man. We're going to have you back on at some point throughout the course of the year. I'm looking forward to seeing, what's next, and y'all keep going and progressing forward. But I'll watch y'all tomorrow and this weekend, and good luck.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I
Thank
appreciate you, man.
Thank you
We're
for
going to take
coming.
a 2-minute break, get him out of here, and then we'll be right back. You're watching